Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Bariatric Nutrition Coach. And I'm talking about meal planning. And the topic is called struggling with meal planning. Many people do struggle with meal planning and preparation after their weight loss surgery. And I want to talk about why, what can be getting in your way of meal planning and preparation after weight loss surgery, the benefits of meal planning and prep, being good at meal planning and prep, and also the process, the 3 steps that we go through and that I go through with my clients in my bariatric nutrition bootcamp. So let's talk first about what gets in the way of meal planning and prep. For many people, it was never a skill set or never something that they did well before surgery. So is it surprising that all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but after weight loss surgery, it's not something that comes naturally? It's very normal because it's not something you've necessarily done before surgery. Many people feel they have that constant hunger before having their surgery. They think about food all the time, and it can become as a bit of a shock. After surgery, you actually still need to think about food all the time. You don't have that same appetite, but you need to eat regularly, and having great options on hand and being prepared is so important. Before surgery, you can eat enough to sustain you for hours, and many people had that default behavior of grabbing and going, grabbing on the go, whatever was available, and hadn't developed, it may be you, that you haven't developed a good skill set or a good way of meal planning and prepping that suits you for your personality and for your household rhythm. And I'm going to talk more about that. So it can be quite overwhelming. Also, what stops people from meal planning and prepping is if I plan ahead, maybe I'm going to prepare something and I just don't feel like it at the time. And that can really stop people. Not knowing what to make, not knowing what to prepare, that's another big hurdle for many people. And also not being able to make a plan. And that's where I come in. When I coach people, you get aware of what's stopping you from getting meal planning and prepping happening, working out what are your personal preferences, because some people are very much more in that organising type of personality. Other people are a bit more like, let's go with the flow. But I do want to encourage you to look at meal planning and prep, not in a fixed way, meaning it doesn't have to look a certain way. I'm going to go through the 3-step of meal planning and prepping, but when I coach people in my bariatric nutrition bootcamp to do this process, we are looking at how is this going to fit in with you? What are the foods you like? It's not a standard kind of cookie cutter way of doing it, because everyone's personal food choices, routine, rhythm in their family, household, it varies. So we need to find a process and a way of doing things that suits you. Also, we want to get out of the mindset that meal planning and prep needs to look a certain way. And it doesn't need to look like how it looks on Pinterest and how lots of things look on Instagram, where on a Sunday you've got the whole week's meals done. It doesn't need to look that way, and it's not for most people that don't look that way. And so if you're thinking that's how it should be, and I'm over here and that doesn't suit me, but it should be like that, then I want to debunk that way of thinking and challenge you that there is ways of building this skill set, building small little bits of time into your week where you allocate as self-care time, it's preparation time, bit of planning time, little bits of chunks of time that you can put towards meal planning and prep that help your week go better, that help your busy weeks flow, that you feel less stress, you have great options on hand. So let me talk through now the 3 steps to meal planning and preparation. So these are really the big kind of rocks, so to speak, and the big steps that I work through with my clients. And for each step, we say, well, how is it going to suit you personally in your life and with your personal preferences? Because as I said before, people have different personal preferences. Some people are like, I love a spreadsheet. Give me this, I'll do that. Other people are like, gosh, Jane, poke my eye out with a stick if I had to do a spreadsheet. I'm a go with the flow. I'm a bit more in the kind of couple of days at a time. all good. We need to work out what personally is going to suit you. But let's look at the 3-step process to meal planning prep. And number 1 is that process of deciding, what am I going to eat over, say, the next week? What am I going to have roughly for snacks and for some meals? Do all of them need to be planned out a week ahead? No. But I find when 2 or 3 dinners, 2 or 3 snacks are kind of on the list and know what you want to have, that is really important and a great start. Really depends on how much do you need to plan and prep for your week to go smoothly. And for some people, it's a whole week, but for many people, it's just a portion of the week. And what I do in my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp with my clients is I have a meal planning guide. It's a tool, and we develop lists of meals and snacks that are great protein that you really love. They give you crunch, they give you sweetness, but they only go on the list if they also provide you a great amount of protein. So we take them out of the brain, we take them out of our memory because you won't remember them all, and you start developing and build this lists of meals and snacks that you really enjoy. So when it comes to this step 1, deciding what you're going to eat or and have this in the next week, you don't need to sit there and think, oh, what am I going to eat? What have I been eating? And use your memory. You've got lists and you can look at lists and say, I haven't had that for some time. Oh, yeah, I'd like to have that again. Or you may develop lists, and you can develop whatever lists you like. You can develop lists even for key proteins you want to have, snacks that work on the go. But deciding what you're going to eat. So you look at your week, you decide what you're going to eat, and you can make a list of what you need. Step 2, the meal planning and prep process, is getting food into the house. So step 1 may be a 30-minute little entry in your diary, a little point maybe. We see what's going to work best for you. When are you going to be doing that process of deciding what you're going to eat? Step 2 is getting the food into the house. How does it suit you to get food into the house? You're ordering online. Do you like going to the supermarket? Do you like doing an order online and then getting a few things during the week in the supermarket? Do you like buying food every few days? What suits you for you in the household? There is no right or wrong. It's really about how does that work for you, and where are you going to do that in the week? Where is that time? Where is it going to, and we plan that in. Okay, we plan that, getting that food in the house. And then the third step is, when are we going to do some preparation? When does it work for you in your busy week and weekends to do some preparation? So it might be chopping up some vegetables. It might be getting ready 2 dinners. It might be putting a few things ready in the freezer. Some people like that. Some people don't like eating food from the freezer. What suits you? And it doesn't have to be so a big chunk of time. When you put in these little tasks into your diary, and you can color code them if you want to make it look nice, because I like color coding in my Google Calendar. I use a Google Calendar. You might do it in the diary. You can chunk down these little planning and prep tasks. They don't seem so overwhelming. And then I help my clients reflect on what works for them and what doesn't work. And we foster what works, and we keep on working to optimize the plan, putting reminders in place, scheduling that half an hour here, and it might be an hour on the weekend to doing some preparation to help your weeks flow, options on hand, and feeling more organized. And it's not about changing things overnight. It's actually a nice step-by-step process. And we want to work out what works best for you personally. So I just want to recap. I talked in the beginning about some of the things that can get in the way of meal planning and preparing. So feeling overwhelmed, not having ever really done it very deliberately. It's been ad hoc. You've been before surgery, sometimes not planning and prep. You may have come out of home and never really had to cook very much. So that can really get in the way, feeling overwhelmed, not having that skill set, not feeling like you're going to plan things, you're not going to feel like them, not knowing what to make or prepare, not knowing what to buy, not knowing how to make a plan, and maybe sometimes even not seeing the importance of meal planning and prep and the value it gives you. And the value it gives you is you get great options. It helps stay on good food choices. You feel satisfied for longer when you have a great meal or snack that's got high protein. and it's going to help you in your weight loss surgery journey. And also losing the concept or the idea that it has to be perfect and has to look Pinterest worthy. And you maybe have reflected on that they can get in your way. And then the 3-step process, deciding what to eat, 2, getting food into the house, and then 3, putting it together. And that is what I coach my clients around, this really step-by-step process. And yes, using my meal planning and preparation tool that I have for my clients in my bootcamp. So I hope you found this episode valuable. I hope maybe it's asked you to reflect on a few things that you are doing, or maybe where you're getting a bit stuck. This is an area that gets many people stuck after their weight loss surgery. And it's not surprising. We lead such busy lives. We can be distracted by so many things in our lives and don't know quite how to get started. So if you struggle in this area and you would like to know more about my coaching and support, please send me a DM in either Facebook, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. And yeah, we can chat more about my bariatric nutrition bootcamp. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support. You're listening to my podcast. I really appreciate it. If you can spare me a couple of minutes, I would love you to write me a review and even rate my podcast. It really helps people decide to listen to my podcast. And I would really love that support. So thank you so much. And I really look forward to being back in your ears next week. Bye for now.